Hey guys, welcome back to another fantastic video. I'm making this video in better spirits because the other day I was at where I work and I was getting very frustrated with the fact of this. And I wanted to talk more about how businesses should be more hands-on and with their approach to onboarding with their sales staff, with team members, and this can inter what we can be interwoven in different aspects of a business, with hiring. But I truly believe that there needs to be component to the onboarding process where you're not just showing them the core, you're showing them the corporate or the business and some basics and the setup and that's all great, but you don't know this person's actual experience. If you're hiring a sales staff, like in the business that I work at, just super sales driven, you have a lot of people that come from different spaces, not necessarily sales. And what ends up happening at this business that I work at is there's a high retent there's a low retention rate. There's a lot of people coming and going, coming and going. Since I've been there, there's been about close to 50 sales members that have just come and gone. And I believe that it's because the business became less focused on how important it is that to onboard, not only onboard somebody that is a fit, but that's also a culture fit that also has the potential to you know be successful in that sales environment with that business. And so I'll tell you exactly what not to do, which is what my business does, that I work for, and it's a dealership. And what happens is there's a very light onboarding process, and then from there, right, there's the basics of your logins and your technology stuff, being introduced to people. Um, Fast forward, our process for sales, and then you get a 1 week sales training from corporate, right? But after that, there's only the motivation to do it if you have that inner motivation, which we all know in a basic kind of sales environment, without without servant leadership, without a manager actually, you know, routinely, making sure that it's part of the daily to focus on sales, growth. You're going to have a sales staff like the one that I do, where it's not continually focused on, it's not consistently practiced. There isn't any mentorship. There's no, Johnny gets hired and is hooked up with somebody that, you know, that's predicated on his actual individual psychological temperament and preference for sales, and how he can unfold his sales potential. um, I don't believe that most I don't believe that most sales driven companies actually focus on that first year of development. Whereas I believe if they did, right, and each, you know, because you have to remember, you're not hiring people in waves, right? Everybody has their own sales training cycle, right? Each sales employee, sales member would have their own cycle, right? From onboarding, getting the basics out of the way, the sales training, and then having their own roadmap, right? Especially now that the majority of the workforce is millennials, we need to take a closer look at what millennials need, and how to adapt into the business world that's not necessarily the best fit for them now. And I would say that the majority of what I've seen in my business career is a very light, training and follow through for that first year. And I believe that if you have a strong, structured onboarding process that is not just sales focused, right, but it's culture focused, it's the overall it's just the overall picture of that employee, of that member, then you're going to have as long as there's focus on that employee and their track, right? More than just like a monthly meeting, right? You need, either weekly or semi-daily focus on it, right? And so the majority of that person's job function is sales, right? But at the end of the day, that person isn't going to get better at what they're doing if they don't have their management staff or trainers, or some figure to help them elevate, because they're going to stay where they are, and feed off of management, and hopefully it's a positive feedback loop there. But the business that I work with, there's no solid and and strong onboarding process or sales um, sales training follow through, right? There's people like the other day we had a week segment training for newbies, but it took a couple months to get that training to our store. And the issue with that is, there should be a process of onboarding, obviously gilded, to whatever business that you are, right? But the main idea of what I'm thinking is you have to know who you're hiring, see, like, understand the projection of what they can do for your business and help them get there. They can only do so much. That's why they're working for you, right? Or working for that company. A sales member by themselves is only going to get so far. If they're not going to have anybody participating in their development, they're only going to get so far. And so they need to know their sales profile. They need to know their strengths and weaknesses. They need to know their performance. And more importantly, if you're hiring somebody, around the age of the millennials, 20s and 30s, right? They need the roadmap. They need a concrete vision of where they're going, why they're working for this organization, what are they getting out of it, what's the organization getting out, and um, in the mutual give and take, there's education and there's a learning experience for that individual. And I believe that's the best route to go, because then if you have that, then there's a model where, you have a strong, you know, you have a strong cycle, right, of retaining people who actually see value in what they're doing past a year, right? The average millennial doesn't want to work anywhere past a year, right? And I wonder why, because there's not that focus, right? So you need that strong sense of commitment and loyalty up front. You need to show and establish the value of why that business is the best business for them for the next couple years, and why, and actually follow through with that promise of, I'm hiring you, but I also want to retain you. And if you want to retain them, retaining comes at a price, right? That's just the reality that we live in now. We don't live in the reality anymore where there's older generations that just want to stay loyal for whatever X, Y, and Z reasons, when the majority of the population realizes there's an infinite amount of possibilities. It's getting more competitive to get better quality candidates, and and that's just how it is. So you need a strong hiring process. You need to hire the right person. You need to show them their roadmap. You need to show, and you need to train them to become the Achilles of what they do, and and mold them to eventually to show them that beyond what they wanted, there could be even other levels above that, and to have an open opportunity, and to refrain from allowing your staff and your employees to see, um, or your team members, the glass ceiling effect, right? Make sure that you're providing an open range of opportunity, in your actual culture, and not the glass ceiling effect, right? Because there's no if no one if they're not competing and getting there, and self-competing and getting there, and trying to get better to a better position, or what they want, whatever their goals may be, then everybody's gonna just show up to work, and not perform as highly, and without that attention, without that participation the first year especially, and obviously, a lighter, once the heavy is out of the way, the heavy training, the lighter training, right? And filling in the holes, right? Then you have different stages of development once they're ready and primed for, the next, level up, right? Or to the side, maybe they don't want to do sales, they want to do something else. You help them in however way that they can do that, right? And so a lot of businesses, I feel like, are starting to realize that, or sorry, some of them are starting to realize that, but some that are just, this is what we're hiring you for, and this is what you need to do. That's not cutting it anymore. And as a result, you're going to have a lower retention rate. You're going to have people that are going to come and go, and how can you blame them? Because they're not getting that training. It's not special treatment. It's just a developed onboarding sales process. And I believe that you need that to have a successful sales team, not only at the beginning, but the follow through in the middle, about the journey, within the journey. So that's all I have to say about that. Hopefully, I sparked some good ideas for you. If you want to write down a comment or question below, or make me or have me, request a video about something else about this topic, please let me know. I'm going to make a lot of videos this month, this year, and a lot of them are going to be sales and business related. Um, Follow me on YouTube. Always appreciate that. And I guess I will see you all next time. Take care.